Hi, and welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Sanaparatna. Grab your favorite drink and a snack, and we will get started. Today, I'm drinking one of my favorites, toasted coconut almond bark black tea, and I'm eating some walnuts. So let's get real. It has been not the greatest of a couple weeks. As we go through this podcast, you may hear my voice go. You may hear it come back. I've got a deep cough. Yes, I have pneumonia. But this is real life. And so I thought I'm not going to give up doing my podcast this week. I'm going to push through and see how it goes. So if this isn't as coherent as it regularly is, or maybe it's the same, who knows? Please have a little bit of grace. So I have been working through the fruit of the Spirit right now. And I don't know if you know what the fruit of the Spirit are, but they're love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And so I did a Sunday school lesson on the fruit of the Spirit. And I'm going to probably do podcasts on each of them later. I'm not really sure. But I've been thinking about these different fruits of the Spirit, and I've been thinking about my life just in general. When you don't feel good, everything comes to a screeching halt in my life, especially when, as you can hear, I'm like gasping. Anyway, everything kind of comes to a screeching halt because when I get sick, I do it all in. Like, there is no, sniffle, move on. It is full on, I'm sick. I guess I'm just not about just being simple, but that's okay. So my life kind of comes to a screeching halt, and all of a sudden I'm trying to, you're alone. And when you are alone is when you start evaluating life. Like, should I be doing a podcast still? Is this relevant? Is this working? Am I supposed to be speaking on the road? Is this relevant? Is it working? Should I be starting my second book? Yes, I know I should, but is it relevant? Is the last book even worth looking at? You just start going down some rabbit trails. And as I have been talking this year, 2021, I said that my year was the year of no. And N-O, not like I'm going to know things, like the word N-O. And I was really fearful when this was my word. I really felt like there would be a lot of judgment. There would be a lot of closed doors. There would just be a lot of negativity, maybe. I mean, N-O, no, is a very negative word. And I have found that the word no in my life is actually bringing freedom. It's actually bringing a freedom for me to be able to look at things and go, I don't have to say yes. And look at things and say, I do not have to walk down this path if it's not what I want to do or what God wants me to do. I can say no. People can say no to me, and I don't need to be hurt by that. It's really been a real freedom when someone has said no to me, or I've been able to say no to opportunities that just didn't work for me. And it has been a true freedom. And I'm really shocked by that because we're so ready for the world just to shut things down for us. And so I have a really quick example that really is just a detour in this day, but in this little podcast. But I was sitting by a lake because we went up to a small town called Bagley, Minnesota. And because we were up there, it's a decent drive from our home. So we stayed in a place called Bemidji, which is where my heart is. My mother and father were both born near there. And so I spent most of my life visiting grandparents up in that area. And I'm sitting in a lake. I'm on one of those plastic chairs with my feet in the water, and I'm letting the water hit me as it comes to the shore. And really, how could you have any more of a peaceful moment, right? I've got my cozy mystery, and no one is around but me and the lake and 1,000 bugs. And so every time I kind of got I feel peaceful, I feel at rest, a bug would land on me. And then I would be like, oh, gross, and get the bug off and, up squealing around. And then I'd sit down and I'd be like, oh, this is so restful. And then another bug would come or seaweed would come. I mean, it was just, I thought the world, as I sat there and I'm trying to read my book, I sat there thinking the world does not want us to be at rest or at peace. Even these bugs do not want me to be at rest or at peace. It was like every kind of bug came out of the woodwork. I was like, what is happening right now? Anyway, as you can tell, I'm not an outdoor person, and maybe all of you would be like, who cares about the bugs, Jenny? You're by the lake. I did. I cared. It was gross. And I was like, this is not fun for me. If I could screen myself in and still have the lake, that would be great, but it did not work. But I sat there thinking that the whole world is really against you having rest and peace. And when we look through the fruit of the Spirit, there's so much when you go through those fruit that the world fights against. The world fights against things that are full of love and full of joy and peace. Things that are patient and kind, things that are faithful and have self-control and, gentleness, just all those things. There's a constant fight against them, even natural things, as I sat there. And it was no person, it was no specific thing other than the bugs just wouldn't leave me alone. And I thought, I have to find my own way of rest. And so then I came home and I got really sick and I was like, oh, I guess this is how I'm getting my rest, right? But it's not real rest because you're fighting something. I've been fighting pneumonia for a week now. And so, you just sit here going, and now I'm just fighting, and I should be resting. And that's what you want to do. And you can't because your body is full of really yucky things. And so as we move on this week, I just want you to know that you're not alone in your fight, whatever fight that is, whether you're fighting for peace or fighting for joy, or you're just fighting to stay standing. My husband also talks about quite often that there's a Bible verse that says, in all that you would stand, because some days standing is a huge battle. Someday just staying on your feet and not giving up is a battle. And you're not alone. You're not the only one out there that feels like I can't move forward. Because right now, I gotta be honest, it's been a week of fighting this pneumonia and I am tired and I feel very alone. When you don't see people, and we no longer send cards in the mail. We no longer, that's just not something that we do. You're very alone. And so you can feel very isolated. And I honestly believe that's what the world and Satan wants. They want you to feel alone so you'd give up. They want you to feel defeated so you'll give up. Don't give up, right? Don't give up. You're not alone. I quite often try to send a quick text message or email or a card, even if I have a moment, to people that I'm praying for, because I want people to understand that when I say I'm praying for you, it means that God saw you. It shows, for me, when God brings someone to my mind to pray for them or send them a card or send them something small in the mail just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. It is a way that God showed me and reminded me of them. I have a lot of systems in place that I do pray for people, but God often reminds me of people just to pray for them. And so I want you today, in the midst of your loneliness and in the midst of your struggle, to stand, to maybe take some time and just reach out to one person that comes to your mind and say, hey, God sees you and I prayed for you today. Or send them a card or just something, saying, hey, you're not alone. Because we so often can get to the point that no one is seeing the struggle you're going through. Nobody is, there are a few people, like my family's known I'm sick, but no one else really knows what's going on. No one sees the struggle. No one sees the struggle as a mom. No one sees the struggle at work. No one sees your financial struggles. No one sees your marriage. They only see what you're portraying, and they don't see the struggle that you have. So when God sets someone on your mind, send them a little text, send them a little Facebook reminder. Hey, thinking of you, God sees you. Because no matter if no one else sees you, God does. God sees you and he loves you and he's watching out for you. And probably most often, God will bring you to my mind and I will pray for you and hopefully remember to send you that text or just email. So, well, that's all I really have for you today. I know it seems like a really small thing, but I think we all need to remember that as we're trying to stand in life and fight against whatever is coming at us, that we're not alone. God sees us. And try to reach out to someone around you that maybe just needs a little, hey, God sees you. Here's a little card that just says I've been praying for you. So let's try it. Let's try to reach out and make a difference in our world around us. You can find us at Real Life with Jenny on Facebook and on Instagram. I actually shut down my personal account kind of, and now I'm just using Real Life with Jenny. So there's a lot of fun things happening there and on our Facebook group. So join us there, or you can find me at Real Life with nope, that's not right. ChristConnection.cc/Jen. That is where you can have me come out and speak to the ladies of your church and encourage them on different things. I'm super excited about the things God's planted in my heart to share with ladies. There are some really great opportunities out there to get together and just support one another. So if you have an event and you're looking for someone, here I am. I would love to come out and just share with the ladies some things that God has laid on my heart. So you all have a great week. I pray that you would reach out to someone and that you would understand that you're not alone. God sees you. He loves you, and he's got a plan.